Call Todd Barclay.
Thank you, Mr Chair. It's a privilege to be able to speak in the estimates debate for the primary sector. My electorate, the electorate of Clutha Southland, was 38,000 square kilometres. It's the size of Switzerland geographically. We're made up of 34 towns and communities, and all bar two of them are service towns and communities to the primary sector, Mr Speaker. So it's an incredible aspect of my electorate, and it takes up a lot of time visiting the various businesses, farmers, individuals who are working in that space, Mr Speaker. Before I start, I just wanted to acknowledge our ministers from the Primary Production Select Committee. So I want to acknowledge Primary Industries Minister Nathan Guy, Associate Minister Joe Goodhue, who's also Food Safety Minister, and Land Information Minister Louise Upston, and commend them on their presentations to the committee. You've got very robust and complicated portfolio areas which make, as a country, we're significantly relying upon the work of your departments, and I think that we can be proud as a country that we've got some great leaders leading those departments, Mr Speaker. Just wanted to make a few remarks about the Ministry for Primary Industries and its relation to my electorate, I think. The first is I want to acknowledge their efforts regarding the velvet leaf recovery. The minute that issue resonated in my electorate, the Ministry for Primary Industries and Environment Southland worked incredibly hard to get around a large number of farms, surveying and canvassing the crops to make sure that there wasn't infection from velvet leaf. And I just want to acknowledge both Environment Southland and the Ministry for Primary Industries for their quick response and their community-centred effort around that. I think it's important to acknowledge departments like that when they're going through those sorts of rescue and recovery efforts, Mr Chair, sorry. And looking over the last sort of 6 or 7 years since the Ministry for Primary Industries has been the beast, I suppose it is, they're responsible, and they've got an oversight over a large, robust work program addressing a number of long-term complex challenges with regard to not only the primary sector but also our economy as a whole. I mean, if you look at the complex environmental challenges they are tasked with playing a strategic role in, the social implications of the primary sector and its operations, the workforce capability issues that they are forced basically to try and assist industries to overcome over the medium to long term, Mr Speaker, and then career development for those who are working within the sector. It's incredibly important for regional New Zealand, and then the Ministry, in the presentation with the ministers over estimates, gave us an oversight of a number of initiatives that they're doing and undertaking quite actively with the sector to try and build that capability and ensure that we've got that going into the long term. And also the economic implications of global events, and I want to remark on the dairy payout. Obviously it's quite a challenging time for all of our dairy communities across the country, Mr Speaker, but the resilience that our farmers and the banks are showing in coping with the challenge of the global events centred around the dairy payout is really remarkable, and the Ministry for Primary Industries is playing a significant role in that, and we heard from the Minister in the estimates debate some of the initiatives that they're doing to work closely with banks and with communities, and particularly around mental health, Mr Speaker, and the Rural Support Trust, the role that they're playing as well. And it was pleasing to see as part of the budget the increase in investment that we've put into Rural Support Trusts. There are a lot of people and a lot of agencies that play a significant role within the social fabric of our communities, but there is one agency that always stands out that is playing a significant role in helping communities and farmers through what is an incredibly tough time, and that is the Rural Support Trust. So I just wanted to acknowledge them in the Southland and Otago branches within that, Mr Speaker. But also, looking at the other challenges the Ministry for Primary Industries, under the leadership of the ministers, are having to deal with, and it was pleasing to see some of the initiatives within the budget that can support that. It's also around traversing and navigating a range of partnerships, an increasing range of complex partnerships, whether that be with iwi, councils, regional councils and district councils across the country, private sector investments through the various Sustainable Farming Fund and other funds that we've got in the primary sector, Mr Speaker, but also with international counterparts and the increasing role that the Ministry for Primary Industries is playing with our major trading partners across the world, Mr Speaker, and it's interesting seeing over the last few years within the budgets the increased capacity that the Ministry has been putting into our sort of diplomatic or trading capacity overseas. It's important. It's our main industry, and we need to make sure that our main industry has those relationships as well, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Stefan Browning.